Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to bring to your attention our research paper on analysis of the level of stress tolerance in dental students in the initial period of training. Relevance. Today's social reality is qualified as a set of continuous and enlightening changes. The process of flexible adaptation of a person to it becomes constant and determines the success of his life activity. Students in the conditions of rapid development of scientific and technological progress have to assimilate a large volume of information, master many skills of their future professional activity, as well as solve urgent everyday problems. All the above requires great mental stress and sometimes leads to disruption of appropriate adaptation mechanism and as a consequence to maladaptation. Therefore, the problem of psychological adaptation and stress resistance in students is one of the most topical in the modern world, which is reflected in a rather large number of publications on mental illness in students. Purpose of study: to analyze the level of stress resistance among dental students in the initial period of study and to develop recommendations on methods of psychological adaptation to academic stress. Research objectives. Determination of the level of psychological adaptation by the method of Щербатых. Determination of the expression of stressogenic factors in dental students in the initial period of study. Study of ways to overcome stress in students. Development of recommendations for methods of psychological adaptation to learning stress.
Materials and methods. To reveal stressogenic factors and features of psychological stress resistance in students, an empirical psychological methods was used, stress tolerance test. This test evaluated the level of stress sensitivity, an indicator inverse to stress tolerance. The higher the indices of this test, the lower the stress sensitivity of the person. 50 respondents, first and second year dental students of Kировsky State Medical University, participated in the study. The obtained research data were converted into digital format. All material was subjected to statistical processing using methods of parametric and non-parametric analysis, accumulation, correction, systematization of initial information, and visualization of the results were performed in Microsoft Office Excel. Statistical analysis was performed using Statistica.
Interpretation of respondents on individual scales showed that the average scores on the first scale are 32 points, with the norm is 1530 points. The average score on the second scale is 28 points, with a norm of 1425 points. The average score on the third scale are 33 points, with the norm of 1228 points. The average scores of the fourth scale are 22 points, with the norm of 1022 points. Average scores of the fifth scale are 30 points, with a norm of 2335 points.
A interpretation of the respondents' answers on all scales showed the baseline index of stress sensitivity is 126 points, which is significantly higher than the norm. The dynamic stress sensitivity score is 97 points, which is also higher than the norm. This index is determined by subtracting a fifth point from the baseline average score and indicates the ability to resist stress through appropriate behavior.
To calculate the average final index of stress sensitivity, Scherbatic added the sixth item to the test, which assesses the level of constant stress over the past 3 years with plus and minus. This index is 141 points with the norm of 35 to 85 points, which indicates an increase in the level of stress in students since entering university.
Conclusions. Based on the results of empirical psychological method stress tolerance test by Scherbatic, it was determined that the level of psychological adaptation, stress tolerance of dental students in the initial period of study is much lower than the norm. Due to the significant expression of stressogenic factors and destructive way of coping with stress, alcohol, cigarettes, aggression, etc., it is necessary to develop recommendations on methods of psychological adaptation to academic stress, teaching students relaxation techniques using elements of aromatherapy, music therapy, art therapy, positive thinking, teaching students competent planning of their time, methods of optimal independent work with academic literature, development of self-presentation skills, and awareness of the stages of career building, informing about a healthy lifestyle, taking into account biorhythms, daily regimen, and eating habits, about destructive methods of combating stress in the aspect of addiction prevention, sport activities. Thank you for your attention.